And finally, many people see real estate as a long-term investment. Does investing in property still offer the potential for stable passive income?
The three pillars of passive income are rental yield, co-investment, and fractional ownership. In today's time and age, all are strengthened by technology, platforms, and blockchain. The smartest investors, according to me, build cash flow before capital gain, rent before resale, yield before the yield curve. Real estate is a great asset class for passive income, but it is also a great asset class for capital appreciation along with passive income. If you keep real estate as a long-term asset class investment instrument, in 10 years, you'll be surprised that it has given more returns than any other asset class ever, whether it is equity, whether it is gold, or anything else. So yes, these are the three things you can keep in mind while choosing real estate as a passive income instrument.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ashwinder R. Singh, for joining us here today on Our Estate, Building the Nation. And now it's time to look ahead. In 26 for 2026, we bring you the trends already shaping the future of real estate, quick, focused, and easy to follow.
Mumbai MMR will see over 15 luxury launches in 2026, starting at Rs 2 crore. By 2030, redevelopmental projects may cross Rs 1.30 lakh crore. The Ganga Expressway, India's second largest, is set to open before Magh Mela 2026. With construction nearly complete, it will connect Prayagraj and Meerut seamlessly. India's first bullet train will debut by 2026. Trial runs between Bilimora and Surat will hit 320 km per hour with indigenous 8-coach prototypes under testing. Over 30 premium projects launched in Gurugram and Noida in 2026, starting at Rs 2 crore. Noida Greater Noida leads India in recent price growth. Navi Mumbai Airport opens December 25, operating day hours. Initially, a major airline will launch with 23 flights, scaling to 35. Mumbai gets its second international airport. By 2026, virtual tours and 3D walkthroughs will transform property marketing. Better material planning may cut construction waste by 30%, while AI could boost sales efficiency up to 30%. Circles rates across major cities like Delhi NCR and Mumbai may rise nearly 20%, driven by land prices and large-scale infrastructure upgrades. The Delhi-Mumbai Expressway, India's biggest road project, is expected by May 2026, cutting travel time between the two cities to just 12 hours. Yeida will launch 973 residential plots near Noida Airport in January 2026 across multiple sectors, just ahead of the airport's expected opening. Delhi Metro's Rithala-Narela corridor and Pune Metro Line 3 will partially open in 2026, significantly boosting urban connectivity. Oyo plans a 6,500 rupees crore IPO in 2026. With over 1 lakh rooms, the company reports annual profits of around 80 crore rupees. Rental yields are expected to rise from 3 to 3.5% in 2026, with Bengaluru, Hyderabad and Mumbai seeing rent hikes up to 15%. Chennai will unveil its third master plan in January 2026. The 2027 and 2046 roadmap will guide the city's growth for the next 2 decades. ESG complaint real estate is gaining momentum. Green certified projects may rise to 30% of new launches by 2026. Noida International Airport, India's largest, will begin operations in 2026. Phase 1 includes 1 runway and terminal handling 12 million passengers annually after mandatory testing. India's co-working market could hit Rs 30,000 crore in 2026 as operators expand from 15 to over 25 cities beyond metros. India plans to integrate 20 gigawatt of renewable energy by 2026, building over 10,700 kilometers of transmission lines across Gujarat, Rajasthan and Tamil Nadu. Discussions on RERA 2.0 may begin in 2026, focusing on transparency while addressing developer concerns like faster approvals and realistic timelines. A 14,000 crore rupees freight corridor will link Vadhavan Port to Samruddhi Mahamarg, easing congestion and improving north-south connectivity in Maharashtra. The FNG Expressway is set to open by 2026, cutting travel time by 40 minutes and unlocking major housing, retail and office development across NCR. Affordable housing supply may rise 8% in 2026 with prices up 5%. Key hotspots include Indore, Surat, Kochi and Jaipur. India's data center capacity is projected to grow 30% in 2026 with $2 billion in fresh investment from global and domestic tech giants. Guwahati is emerging as an IT corridor with hospitality booms across the northeast. With rising tourism, multiple REITs may launch northeast-focused funds by 2026. Commercial real estate is expected to grow up to 12% in 2026, with FDI touching $7 billion across top business cities. 10 cities including Pune, Kochi, Indore, Jaipur and Ahmedabad are set to see strong real estate appreciation in 2026. Pepperfry targets a 2026 IPO after $150 million funding and plans 50 showrooms. Sadoxo expands smart cities, Siemens launches smart building services and Ultratech adds major capacity.
That's all we have on this edition of Our Estate, Building the Nation. From the week's top news to design, data and what lies ahead, we hope tonight's show helped you better understand a fast-changing real estate landscape. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more and we'll see you next time on Our Estate, Building the Nation.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
We are willing to put an end to this conflict via peaceful means based on the principles that I outlined in July last year when I spoke at the Foreign Ministry of Russia.
Putin squarely blamed Kyiv for the failure of peace negotiations, accusing Ukraine's leadership of refusing dialogue.
Statements from Zelensky that he is not prepared to discuss territory issues. At the moment, we don't see their readiness. I would like to remind where it all began.
Rejecting allegations against Russia, Putin claimed Moscow did not start the war. Putin blames roots of Ukraine conflict lie in 2014 anti-constitutional coup.
We did not start this war. This war began as a result.
Kashmir police has intensified the security grid all along the Indo-Pakistan international border and its connecting areas after the dense fog has engulfed the Jammu region, especially the areas close to the border. And here you will see that all the vehicles that are coming from the border areas and are heading towards the city, they are thoroughly being checked, the identity is being asked, and only then these people are being allowed to move beyond this point. Because if Sarjeevan can show you the deployment of the security forces that has been done here, that their identities are being checked, and then they are being allowed, because they want to ensure that there is no untoward incident that takes place. Even you will see that these vehicles that are coming, their identity cards are being checked by the police, and only then they are being allowed to move beyond this point. Here on this side you will see that the visibility has gone down. The visibility has dipped below roughly 30 to 40 meters here on the Indo-Pakistan international border, which makes it really very challenging.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मम्मा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा, सबका राजा और प्योर मसाला।
प्लीज स्टॉप।
झुमका तेरा झुमका, तेरा झुमका।
नॉट देयर, मेरा काउंटर टॉप टूट जाएगा।
तेरा झुमका।
मेरी चिमनी टूट जाएगी। What are you doing?
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो, मिलाओ और खाओ।
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Very good evening, viewers. You're watching 6 Stories at 6, and I am Rakshita Mishra with you for this Saturday edition, viewers. We'll start with what's happening in Bangladesh, where the targeting of Hindus continues unabated. A disturbing new clip shows how Deepu Chandra Das, the Hindu man who has been killed, was tortured before he was lynched, before he was passed on to the mob, the jihadi mob out on the streets, who tied him up to a tree and set him ablaze. They recorded clips of it. Story number 2 is how India continues to have its eyes on Aravallis, viewers. Republic's campaign Save the Aravallis. Republic's investigation continues, exposing it on camera how the illegal mining is still continuing. Also on the show, we show you how a pilot was attacked. A pilot, I beg your pardon, and bus passenger was attacked by an Air India Express pilot at the Delhi airport today. And also, we show you how Rahul Gandhi is once again in trouble, as a picture of him meeting Soros aid services. BJP is training its guns on him now, calling it he's meeting the enemies of India. Story number 5 is on the tragic collision that has led to the death of 7 elephants after a train hit a herd of jumbos in Assam. And finally, we will tell you more about the Epstein files. The first trove, the initial trove, has been released, and what the questions that have been raising, we'll tell you all about that. But first, we start with the situation in the neighboring country of Bangladesh. It's on the edge. Radical extremists have taken over the streets. Jihadi mobs have taken over the streets right under the nose of Muhammad Yunus, the chief of the interim regime, who also happens to be a Nobel Peace Prize winner. His country is far from being peaceful. Elections nearing, anti-Bharat and anti-Hindu sentiments are only being fueled now. The communal fire has caused the death of an innocent Hindu man now in Bangladesh, Myanmar Singh. This clip we are going to play out shows Deepu Chandra Das being tortured inside a factory first. He's framed under false charges and then allegedly handed over. He was handed over
by the police, by the authorities, to a radical Islamist mob who lynched him to death. Extremely disturbing clip. We have to blur out that visual. The question now is simple. Can Hindus ever be safe in a Bangladesh that is slipping deeper into radicalization? What's more appalling, ladies and gentlemen, is that those who harp on pseudo-secularism and talk about the so-called persecution of minorities in the country, the bigger question is, don't Hindu lives matter to them? Why no eyes on Bangladeshi Hindus, we ask.
A disturbing new video from Bangladesh has triggered national outrage. Reports suggest Hindu man Deepu Chandra was tortured and harassed inside the factory, framed under false charges, and then handed over by police to a radical Islamist mob. Deepu Chandra was a young Hindu man lynched to death, his body set ablaze by a ruthless mob. The sole breadwinner for his family did not survive the night. His killing has become the flashpoint of a wider, brutalized landscape for Hindus in Bangladesh. Streets erupting, mobs running unchecked, and attacks breaking out across Dhaka. A country on the boil, where extremists are emboldened and the interim government is failing to rein them in. And while the violence spirals, India's prominent Muslim leaders remain silent even as fear grips Bangladesh's Hindu community. The shockwaves are now spilling into India. Protests have also erupted in Jammu against the Yunus government in Bangladesh. A killing caught on camera, a nation on edge, and a question that refuses to fade. Can Hindus ever be safe in an increasingly radicalized Bangladesh?
And the other big story that we are tracking on Republic TV, viewers, that's the Save the Aravallis. From the streets of Gurugram to the digital landscapes of Rajasthan, the hashtag Save Aravalli movement is gaining momentum. The Aravalli range, which stretches from Delhi and to Gujarat, is one of the oldest mountain ranges in the world, and protesters argue that the ruling is a death warrant for the range, stripping protection nearly 90% of the hills. Republic TV, in fact, has found alarming evidence of the environmental damage that continues with the extent of mining, illegal mining, in the Aravalli Highlands. Republic TV, in fact, is the only channel that is on ground zero that is bringing you on camera what is happening with the Aravallis, how the illegal mining firms, the mining firms are actually killing the Aravallis. They are eating up the lungs of North India.
The Aravallis are North India's green lungs, checking desertification, regulating rainfall, and recharging groundwater for cities like Gurugram and Jaipur. But the 100-meter threshold leaves much of this ancient range unprotected, risking ecology and health hazards, an issue Republic has tracked on the ground. Residents gather demanding ecological protection over technical classifications, warning that the Aravallis play a crucial role in controlling North India's already hazardous air quality. They are now being mined illegally in most parts along the 700-kilometer stretch.
There are people who are protesting to save Aravalli. There are people, local villagers, several individuals who've been fighting to save Aravallis, and with the latest new acceptance of the new definition of the Aravalli Hills, we know that this entire mountain range is in danger. Because around 90% of the mountain range is below 100 meters, thus it will not qualify to be a part of the Aravalli Hills. Aravalli Hills, also known as the lungs of the New Delhi NCR, also known as the lungs of the New Delhi NCR, they are in danger.
Large sections of the Aravalli Hills have been flattened to fall below the 100-meter benchmark, even as villagers allege continued illegal mining in violation of court orders.
There were hundreds of people here with us who were sharing their stories, sharing their version, how this illegal mining, even before this acceptance of the new definition by the Supreme Court, has been troubling their lives, has hugely impacted their lives. And even on this right now, I can show you, we are just near the residential area of this mining, and as per law, any blast site should be at least at a distance of around 500 meters or 1500 meters. But we are just at a mere distance of around 82 meters from the blast site. And few of the houses here, like this one, is just at a distance of 42 feet. So people here are struggling. They have serious health issues. They're having trouble breathing.
Locals say mining activity continues unchecked, causing environmental damage and serious health concerns, while powerful mining interests operate despite legal restrictions.
People are saying that it is getting difficult for them to breathe at this point because of the local factory, local cement crusher, which is just placed a few feet away from this village.
As protests intensify, the battle to save the Aravallis has become a fight for air, water and survival, raising urgent questions on environmental justice.
Illegal mining all throughout the Aravalli Hills, and right now I'll show you the situation because it is caught on our camera. As you can see, there are 3 trucks. When we came here, when Republic came here, this was a well-lit area. Mining was going on, and as per the DGMC order, which is Directorate General of Mine Safety, DGMS's order, no mining is allowed post sunset. So the allowed time period is between sunrise to sunset. But we reached here around half an hour ago, and this entire area I am showing you, which is pitch dark right now, this was completely well lit. There you can see there are 3 trucks who are functioning, who are carrying out the mining, illegal mining of that sorts.
Now, a passenger at Delhi Airport Terminal 1 alleged that an off-duty pilot of the Air India Express Airlines physically assaulted him, left him bloodied after an altercation over the passenger cutting the security queue, and it escalated into a brawl. Now, he said that the airline, what we know is that the airline later said that the pilot has been removed from his official duties, he has been suspended, he has been grounded. The passenger's name is Ankit Diwan. He detailed his account in a post on X as he accused Air India Express's captain Virendra Sejwal of physically assaulting him.
A verbal spat at Delhi airport turned into a nightmare for the passenger. Beaten in front of his children and wife, the younger child, a 4-month-old in stroller. An experienced pilot has now been grounded for his conduct, which by no means suits a pilot. He assaulted a passenger at Terminal 1. The pilot, when questioned for jumping the queue, replied to the passenger in fury, "Are you an illiterate? Can't you read? This line is for staff." The passenger was instructed by the airport staff to use PRM check as he had a 4-month-old baby with him. Within seconds of the argument, the passenger was lying on the ground after the pilot landed a punch on his face. Air India has responded to the misdemeanor of the pilot, showing concern towards passenger safety. Delhi police, though aware of the assault, said it would only take action post a written complaint. While the Ministry of Civil Aviation has also taken serious cognizance of the incident and directed the airline to ground the pilot with immediate effect, a formal inquiry has been ordered.
And leader of opposition in Lok Sabha and Congress's MP Rahul Gandhi stares around yet again with his recent sighting now with the CEC trustee George Soros' aide Cornelia Wall in Berlin. As Rahul Gandhi garners flack for his repeated indulgences with those affiliated with the anti-India squad, the BJP spokesperson has publicly slammed the leader of opposition, saying that he is meeting with the enemies of the country and that he stays away and meets those who are the enemies of the country while the parliament is on. Here's more.
Leader of opposition and Congress leader Rahul Gandhi is at the center of another Soros controversy. This is how the Congress leader was seen with George Soros' aide Cornelia Wall in Berlin. Cornelia is linked to Soros through the CEC. The both of them, in fact, are on the CEC Board of Trustees. This sighting had the Congress leader garner immense flack, especially from the BJP back home in India. The BJP called out Rahul Gandhi on his being in Germany at a time when he was to be in the parliament instead.
भारत की राजनीति में और जब संसद का सत्र चल रहा था तो संसद में रहने की थी, लेकिन वो विदेशी भूमि पर जर्मनी जाते हैं और जर्मनी में हर्टी स्कूल है, वहां पर मिलते हैं कॉर्नेलिया वॉल.
BJP then goes on to allege that Rahul Gandhi always happens to meet those who are against India, as he addresses George Soros to be giving funds to the Central European University.
संसद का सत्र शुरू होने जा रहा होता है या चल रहा होता है तो विदेशी धरती पर जाते हैं और जो भारत के शत्रु हैं, जो भारत से ईर्ष्या करते हैं, हमारी अखंडता पे प्रहार करते हैं, उनके साथ मिलते हैं, बातचीत करते हैं.
The BJP there went on to accuse Rahul Gandhi on his repeated instances of affiliating with the anti-Indian sentiment, as he slams the leader of opposition to be shamelessly indulging in activities and meets against the country.
ये बार-बार अभी कोलंबिया गए राहुल गांधी, अक्टूबर 2025 की ही बात है. तो क्या कहा राहुल गांधी ने? राहुल गांधी बोले देयर इज अ होलसेल अटैक ऑन डेमोक्रेसी इन इंडिया. थोक में भारत के लोकतंत्र पे प्रहार हो रहा है, लेकिन ये प्रहार अगर आप कह रहे हो रहा है तो ये तो विदेशी भूमि से नेता प्रतिपक्ष नकली गांधी खुद राहुल गांधी कर रहे हैं.
The centre recalled that as of late, Rahul Gandhi was in Colombia earlier this year at a time when the democracy was in danger. This is as he at last addresses how India has only grown in the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and how Rahul Gandhi is unhappy about it. All eyes are now on Rahul Gandhi as a word is awaited from him and Congress on the end of the fresh controversy.
Now, a tragic incident in Assam has raised serious concerns over wildlife safety along the railway tracks. At least 7 elephants were killed after a speeding train collided with a herd of elephants in the Kanpur Jamunamukh area of Assam's Hojai district amid poor visibility. The impact was so severe that 5 coaches and the engine of the Sairang New Delhi Rajdhani Express were derailed, disrupting train movement on the route. More in this report.
A freight train stands frozen in the mist, and beside the railway tracks lie 7 fallen giants. In a single collision, speed met survival, and the cost was enormous. At least 7 elephants were killed. They were trying to cross the tracks when hit. The collision took place after a herd of jumbos was hit by the Sairang New Delhi Rajdhani Express due to low visibility in Assam's Hojai district. 5 coaches and the train's engine were also derailed. Lifeless bodies of the elephants lying on the train tracks were surrounded by people. The accident has left the train movement disrupted. Forest and railway officials are working closely to investigate the cause as it raises concern over wildlife safety along railway tracks. Chief Minister of Assam, Himanta Biswa Sarma, says his state government has initiated an inquiry and that steps are being taken to secure wildlife corridors.
The Anand Vihar Sairang Express collided with a herd of elephants on Saturday early morning. As a result of the collision, 7 elephants died on the spot, whereas 1 elephant died in a facility nearby. It may be mentioned that as a result of the collision, 5 courses of the Anand Vihar Sairang Rajdhani Express also got derailed. The rescue operations were underway and the efforts are being put in to restore operations of the railways. The entire railway route across the northeast has been disrupted because of this derailment.
Now, the US Department of Justice released and published thousands of files related to Jeffrey Epstein, released long anticipated for his potential to reveal new details about the late sex offender and his connections to powerful people. But it was clear soon after that the release would fall far short of those expectations. The partial release have garnered immense criticism. It shows a lot of Bill Clinton in the pictures. There's a lot of prominence of Bill Clinton, but there's much less of Trump. That is raising many questions as well. But many disturbing pictures have also come to light in this first release of the Epstein files. Here's more.
Amid much anticipation, the US Justice Department released an initial tranche of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein on Friday, the 19th of December. The documents, which include photos, videos, and investigative files, were highly anticipated after the US Congress passed a law mandating the files to be released in their entirety by Friday. From former US President Bill Clinton to Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and musicians like Mick Jagger and Michael Jackson, the files reveal the involvement of multiple personalities of eminence. The release, however, was soon realized to have fallen short of people's expectations. This is as a file dump which was dominated mainly by photographs, but also including call logs, court records and other documents, have many details heavily redacted.
Just put out the files and stop redacting names that don't need to be redacted. It's just, who are we trying to protect? Are we protecting the survivors, or are we protecting these elite men that need to be put out there? And people need to know these are predators that are in the files. They need to be brought to justice so they can stop doing this in the long run. You know, it's for everyone's safety at the end of the day.
The visuals released also included a few photos of US President Donald Trump. Trump, once a close friend of Epstein, fought for months to prevent the release of the records related to the investigation of Epstein, who died in a New York jail cell in 2019 while awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. It wasn't until the pressure from the Congress was as immense that the Republican president eventually caved in and signed a law last month compelling publication of the materials. The White House said the release of the files, mandated by a law passed by the Congress, shows how the Trump administration is the most transparent in history. Consequent to the partial release, however, Democrats and some Republicans have come forth accused the Department of Justice for violating its legal obligations after it said it would not be able to release all the documents by the deadline. In fact, criminal defense attorney John Day called out the Justice Department, calling for an issuance of a list of documents not released with corresponding justifications.
they're not required to release a list of what they're not releasing, and that's where the problems arise, and that's where the suspicion would continue to grow, because we don't know what we don't know about the documents that were kept back. And so it's up to the Department of Justice. It's basically the honor system saying, okay, these materials relate to victims, so they're kept back. These materials relate to honor, kept back. But again, it's up to the people who are making those decisions to say whether or not those exceptions follow the law. So it's not going to reassure a lot of people that this has been done scrupulously and appropriately, because there's going to be so much material that's not being released, so much material that's redacted, that it's certainly going to feed suspicions that something's going on.
All eyes are now on the Justice Department, as it said it will continue releasing documents in the weeks ahead.
Republic TV will be continuing to get you a lowdown of all the top stories that we're tracking for you. But that's all in this edition of 6 Stories at 6 from our side, viewers. On the other side, we will be getting you the latest on our Post Sports. Thanks for watching.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, masscom, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा, राजा और प्योर मसाला।
Please stop!
झुमका, तेरा झुमका, तेरा झुमका।
Not there. मेरा काउंटर टॉप टूट जाएगा।
तेरा झुमका।
मेरी चिमनी टूट जाएगी। What are you doing?
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
We are willing to put an end to this conflict via peaceful means based on the principle.
Kashmir police has intensified the security grid all along the Indo-Pakistan international border and its connecting areas after the dense fog has engulfed the Jammu region, especially the areas close to the border. And here you will see that all the vehicles that are coming from the border areas and are heading towards the city, they are thoroughly being checked, the identity is being asked, and only then these people are being allowed to move beyond this point. Because if Sarjeevan can show you the deployment of the security forces that has been done here, that their identities are being checked and then they are being allowed, because they want to ensure that there is no untoward incident that takes place. Even you will see that these vehicles that are coming, their identity cards are being checked by the police, and only then they are being allowed to move beyond this point. Here on this side you will see that the visibility has gone down. The visibility has dipped below roughly 30 to 40 meters here on the Indo-Pakistan international border, which makes it really very challenging.
So do you believe that Shastri had become an obstacle to the Vadra Nehru Gandhi family?
Lal Bahadur Shastri resigned. He said, Kamraj, why don't you become? Kamraj said, no. I don't know English, I don't know Hindi. See, he was the tallest and the strongest man of the Congress. If he wanted to become Prime Minister, nobody would have said no. Then Ramnath ji told me that when they went to Tirupati, in Tirupati, Ramdari Singh Dinkar prayed to Balaji, give the remaining years of my life to Jai Prakash Narayan.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा हार्डकोर मसाला।
प्लीज स्टॉप।
झुमका तेरा झुमका तेरा झुमका
नॉट देयर, मेरा काउंटर टॉप टूट जाएगा।
तेरा झुमका
मेरी चिमनी टूट जाएगी। What are you doing?
रानी इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल। ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े। क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
We just now felt this entire mountain shiver because there are blasts going on. As we were telling you, usually for the limestone mining, the acceptable range of the blast is around 1 meter. And that won't be so harsh that we could feel this entire mountain, feel shake. Yes, definitely. And the kind of, because for cement mining, they need a blast of...
In the high-velocity world of squash, there is no room for hesitation. It's a sport played at the speed of thought. Inside a glass box, where every wall is a weapon and every second is a battle for territory. While many athletes spend decades mastering this complex geometry of speed, one name has disrupted the global hierarchy even before reaching adulthood. At just 14, she was the youngest athlete to represent India at the Commonwealth Games. But don't let the age fool you. This is a fighter who doesn't just play the game. She dictates its pulse. From the British Junior Open to the Asian Games podium, she has turned the glass court into her personal kingdom. This is the story of Anahat Singh, a force of nature on a journey truly made for gold.
That's obviously everyone's main goal. It's to get an Olympic medal, and yeah, I mean, now that it's actually in the Olympics, like before this, it didn't really seem realistic. Like Commonwealth was the biggest major games you could play, and Olympics wasn't in the picture at all. But now that it's there, that's of course getting a gold, not just any medal, getting a gold at the Olympics is definitely my dream. I started playing when I was 8 years old. I used to play badminton for a few years when I was 6. So I started playing at a really early age. I loved playing different sports always, and yeah, I played badminton and squash for a couple of years together, but my elder sister Amira, who was a squash player at the time, I went with her for a few practice sessions and a few tournaments, and I traveled with her, and yeah, I realized that I wanted to take sports up professionally, and to do that I couldn't play 2 sports at the same time, so I realized I had to drop one of them, and I loved badminton and squash the same amount, so it took some time for me to figure out. But
every masterpiece has a surprising first sketch. For Anahat, the dream didn't start with a squash racket. It started with a shuttlecock. Inspired by the legendary PV Sindhu, she began as a badminton prodigy. But destiny had other plans. It was the rhythmic echo of her sister Amira's squash practice that pulled her towards the glass walls. The transition was serendipitous. Initially, it was a matter of convenience for her parents, Gursharan and Tani, to have both daughters in the same spot. But Anahat brought something unique from the badminton court. An uncanny hand-eye coordination and lethal volleys that left opponents stranded. She soon realized that while she enjoyed the shuttle, she owned the court. By age 8, the shift was complete. A badminton fan became India's greatest squash hope.
Anahat, she was like very sporty since she was a kid. When she was 3 or 4 years old, my husband and I both love sports. I think saw one of the tournaments where she saw PV Sindhu or Saina Nehwal, and there was Carolina Marin used to come, all those, the top badminton players. And she was like, I want to play badminton. And she was really young and we never used to take her seriously. And then just to force us to make her play, we bought her a badminton racket and all, ki maid ke saath khelegi or something like that. But she used to go and then keep on hitting it against the wall inside the house. And if we wouldn't pay heed to her, she'd go and hit it on our heads also. She was just so convinced that she wanted to play, and she was trying to, every time we come back from work, she's like, Mama, Papa, I want to play and all that. Then finally, when she was around 5, I tried to take her, and she was always very petite and small. So I tried to take her for training to City Fort, and they said that she's just too young and she can't play. I took her again and I just told that person at the counter saying that she's 6 years old, though she was 5, that she's 6 years old, at least try and make her play one day. See if she's too young, if you feel she's not listening or something, then I'll take her. But he says, okay, we'll try for a few days. And after that, I kept sending her with the maid and I never went back. And it was almost 6-8 months after that. We got a call from the coach and he was like, I think you need to pull her out of school because she's pretty, good at what she's doing. Have you ever watched her play? And we were like, it was like a hobby for her. So we were like, no, we're going to work, coming back in the evening. We've never watched. They said, why don't you come watch? And when we saw her play, we were a little shocked. And she was she was looking it was not like a 5-year-old, 6-year-old playing. So then we asked her when she was around 8 or 9 that you have to choose one sport. And then she chose squash.
Squash is often called physical chess. It requires the lungs of a marathon runner and the tactical mind of a grandmaster. For Anahat, the court is a canvas of angles. Where others see a solid wall, she sees a launch pad for a deceptive drop shot. Where others feel the crushing weight of fatigue, she finds a second wind.
I think squash is it's a very fast-paced game. It's very physical, and if you say, for example, tennis and badminton, it's the opponents are on two sides of the net, but in squash it's you're in the same area, so it gets a lot more physical, there's a lot more contact, and you need to really figure out what shot you have to hit at the exact time, so you need to have really good reflexes as well and the understanding of the court and everything. So I think, it's very different to other sports. There's not much which is you're in physical contact with the other opponents. It's like that in football, I guess it's like that in basketball, but in a racket sport, having something like this, it's not very common. So I think that's something that really stood out to me, because as a kid I was always extremely energetic. I used to be running around all the time, and playing squash, obviously I used to get really tired, so it was something that really brought the energy out of me, and it's something that I just love doing all the time.
Her rise hasn't just been rapid, it's been revolutionary. In 2024 alone, she captured 9 PSA Challenger titles, a feat of dominance rarely seen in the modern era.
To be honest, I don't really think too much about it. I mainly just focus on, playing well and not looking out of the court much. But sometimes it just happens even if you try not to, and that pressure does build up, especially when you're playing team events and when there's 3 other people who are also riding on you and making and want you to win as well. So it's not that you're just winning for yourself, you're winning for the 3 other people in the team and also for the country. And there's definitely a little bit more of pressure when you're playing like that. But when you're playing like an individual match or an individual tournament, it's very, very different. For me, I don't really try to take too much pressure because I feel like that spoils my game a little bit. Then I'm not able to play how I'm supposed to be, and then I'm not, then I'm not going to end up winning, or I'll play badly. So I feel like for me it doesn't really work out, and I try as much as I can to not think about what's my expectations are, what other people think that I'm going to get out of it, and just focus on taking it one step at a time and making sure that I can at least win the match. And I think the fact that I don't really like to give up, even if I'm like 2-0 down and I have barely any chance of winning, and I still try my best. Like, I don't just let the match go, and even if I'm still able to get a few points, you never know what can happen in the match, and I just try to give my 100% in every single point that I play.
Her game is a masterful blend of technical precision and raw, youthful fearlessness. Whether it's a punishing drive to the back or a soft flick at the front, she isn't just competing against opponents, she's rewriting the record books with every lunging return.
Match khatam ho gaya, jeete ya haare. Let's get back. What does she need to eat? How does she need to recover for the next day? If there's a next day, if it's the finals, then there's not that worry. But otherwise, haar ya jeeto, because the tournaments are ongoing, training is ongoing. Is first, my thing honestly is that once she gets out of court, let's get home or to the hotel. Let's recover what she needs to eat. If there's a physio needed, and all that stuff. That's my first thing. So my first thing is not, oh my God, jeet gayi ya haar gayi. And then once that is sorted out, it's like, okay, great, you won. And it's amazing. And if it's the final and she's won the tournament, we normally just tell her, okay, enjoy for the next few days, because then again, go back to you have to start focusing only on your like training or the next tournament, because you can't delve so much on a loss or a win. If you've lost, you have to get out of it very fast and see what you went wrong. Uske baare mein baat karo, figure it out, and next day, let's improve on that. And if you won also, you still have many more things to do. So it's just like that 24 hours you'll enjoy. Even now, jaise World Cup jeete, I mean, jab jeet gaye, up to the win, there's a lot of excitement. And the moment the medal ceremony is done, everything is done, it's like, okay, now I want to sleep.
To be a prodigy is to carry the weight of a nation's expectations on teenage shoulders. Watch her step into the tee, the center of the court.
That's still something I'm working on. My coaches say that I'm not on the tee enough, which is something that's really lacking in my game. Like I said, it's the middle of the court, so of course, to make sure that you're able to reach every ball, it's very important for you to be in the middle and dominate, because that's also what puts pressure on the other opponent when you pick up every single ball, or you're there to reach every single shot. I think that's something that puts a lot of pressure on the other person, and that's what takes them away from their game plan. But I'm not the best at it, to be honest. It's still one of my main aims. That's something that I've been working on for the last couple of months, and it's one of the most important parts of the game as well.
There's no trace of the 17-year-old student juggling board exams and training sessions. There is only a calm, lethal focus. Training for Anahat is a relentless pursuit of agility, refining the reflexes that allow her to reach the unreachable.
I mean, if I have school and I'm not able to spend too much time on court, then I just play for like 2 hours in a day, 1 hour squash and then 1 hour's gym or like movement work. And if I have like the weekend or holidays, or I'm out training with my coach, then I spend a little bit more time playing on court, because I prioritize that a little bit more, because I focus a little bit more on my shots rather than my physicality. But yeah, as the years are going on, because the last couple of years I couldn't really work too much in the gym, because they said it's not really recommended when you're quite young. So yeah, I mean, now that I'm getting slightly older and I'm playing more of the senior events as well, that's something I'm focusing more on, working in the gym, improving my movement, and like he said, also dominating the tea and being there. And
behind the trophies lies a grueling routine of discipline and sacrifice, while her peers were discovering leisure.
Asian Games, which like she was like so young, but she got to Asian Games, Commonwealth Games, where she got to play with the seniors, and I mean that is a totally different, thing where you have all these other top athletes. I mean, she met PV Sindhu, who was like somebody she looked up at to, and also like Saurabh Ghoshal, Joshna, Deepika. Like she grew up, watching them play, and they were all alive and like right there playing next to her. So those moments were always special, and somehow, she's got to experience that, be with those athletes at a very young age, which actually has helped her learn and, like perform better and just become a more complete athlete, which she has a lot to learn still.
Every tactical boast and every scream of victory is a step towards a singular destination. As squash prepares for its grand debut on the Olympic stage in Los Angeles 2028. Anahat Singh stands at the threshold of history. She's no longer just a rising star. She's the sun around which the future of Indian squash revolves.
Because you won. Gold is you won, right? And it's like you got into the final and you made all that effort. So a loss in the final is like quite a big blow. If you win in the earlier rounds, you still know, okay, fine, next time I'll work harder and do it. But you've reached the finals, you made all that effort, you worked really hard. So winning a gold is obviously, that much more important for your confidence, for like just the effort that you made. So when the national anthem plays and you won and you played for the team, and even now in the World Cup they won and the national anthem was playing, I mean, it's like a different high. It's like the feeling is, you can't describe that feeling.
Carries the fire of a champion and the humility of a lifelong student. A leader on the court, an inspiration of it. The world is watching the glass court, and in the center of it all is a girl who was born to lead, born to conquer, and destined to shine.
I've not really had, until now, I've not had too many moments where the national anthem's been playing, but yeah, I mean, it's a very different feeling, especially being an athlete when you're playing for your country. And when our t-shirts, when they get printed, it's not with our names on the back, it's with India written, and it's very different than when you're playing an individual tournament. And when you're playing for India, the pride and the pressure, and when you win, the happiness that you feel is not the same as what you would if you're playing just another tournament in like the professional circuit. It's very, very different. And I mean, I've played at the Asian Games and we got the medals there, and it's obviously, like I said, it's one of the best moments of my squash career, and I think that's just gonna always stick. If anyone ever asks me what like the best moment for you has been, I don't think my answer will ever be like the British Open or the World Juniors, because that's something that you're playing for yourself, and I think the answer is always going to be something where you end up playing for your country and where the national anthem is playing after you get the medal.
She is the prodigy of the court. She's the heartbeat of a nation. She is Anahat Singh, and she is undeniably made for gold.
Well, I'm breaking on Shivangi Shukla, getting you the latest. Let's tell you the top story tracking right now. Now we see that Rahul Gandhi has once again got himself into a controversy after he was seen with the CEC trustee George Soros' aide in Berlin. Now, the BJP has hit out at Rahul Gandhi. Take a look at this report as we keep getting you the latest.
Leader of opposition and Congress leader Rahul Gandhi is at the center of another Soros controversy. This is how the Congress leader was seen with George Soros' aide Cornelia Wohl in Berlin. Cornelia is linked to Soros through the CEC. The both of them, in fact, are on the CEC Board of Trustees. This sighting had the Congress leader garner immense flack, especially from the BJP back home in India. The BJP called out Rahul Gandhi on his being in Germany at a time when he was to be in the parliament instead.
भारत की राजनीति में और जब संसद का सत्र चल रहा था तो संसद में रहने की थी, लेकिन वो विदेशी भूमि पर जर्मनी जाते हैं और जर्मनी में हर्टी स्कूल है, वहां पर मिलते हैं कॉर्नेलिया वॉल.
BJP then goes on to allege that Rahul Gandhi always happens to meet those who are against India as he addresses George Soros to be giving funds to the Central European University.
संसद का सत्र शुरू होने जा रहा होता है या चल रहा होता है तो विदेशी धरती पर जाते हैं और जो भारत के शत्रु हैं, जो भारत से ईर्ष्या करते हैं, हमारी अखंडता पे प्रहार करते हैं, उनके साथ मिलते हैं, बातचीत करते हैं.
The BJP there went on to accuse Rahul Gandhi on his repeated instances of affiliating with the anti-Indian sentiment as he slams the leader of opposition to be shamelessly indulging in activities and meets against the country.
ये बार-बार अभी कोलंबिया गए राहुल गांधी, अक्टूबर 2025 की ही बात है. तो क्या कहा राहुल गांधी ने? राहुल गांधी बोले देयर इज अ होलसेल अटैक ऑन डेमोक्रेसी इन इंडिया. थोक में भारत के लोकतंत्र पे प्रहार हो रहा है. लेकिन ये प्रहार अगर आप कह रहे हो रहा है तो ये तो विदेशी भूमि से नेता प्रतिपक्ष नकली गांधी खुद राहुल गांधी कर रहे हैं.
The centre recalled that as of late, Rahul Gandhi was in Colombia earlier this year at a time when the democracy was in danger. This is as he at last addresses how India has only grown in the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and how Rahul Gandhi is unhappy about it. All eyes are now on Rahul Gandhi as a word is awaited from him and Congress on the end of the fresh controversy.
US tragic incident has raised concerns about wildlife safety, especially when it comes to railway tracks. This is coming in after a herd of elephants collided with a speeding train in Assam. Take a look.
A freight train stands frozen in the mist, and beside the railway tracks lie 7 fallen giants. In a single collision, speed met survival, and the cost was enormous. At least 7 elephants were killed. They were trying to cross the tracks when hit. The collision took place after a herd of jumbos was hit by the Sairang New Delhi Rajdhani Express due to low visibility in Assam's Hojai district. 5 coaches and the train's engine were also derailed. Lifeless bodies of the elephants lying on the train tracks were surrounded by people. The accident has left the train movement disrupted. Forest and railway officials are working closely to investigate the cause as it raises concern over wildlife safety along railway tracks. Chief Minister of Assam, Himanta Biswa Sarma, says his state government has initiated an inquiry and that steps are being taken to secure wildlife corridors.
The Anand Vihar Sairang Express collided with a herd of elephants on Saturday early morning. As a result of the collision, 7 elephants died on the spot, whereas 1 elephant died in a facility nearby. It may be mentioned that as a result of the collision, 5 courses of the Anand Vihar Sairang Rajdhani Express also got derailed. The rescue operations were underway and the efforts are being put in to restore operations of the railways. The entire railway route across the northeast has been disrupted because of this derailment.
And viewers, the Republic Save Aravalli campaign has found resonance among its viewers. And Republic TV is leading the investigation when we go ahead, we go to different areas and we expose illegal mining along the Aravalli ranges. Remember that illegal mining and exploitation is leading to environmental damage and raising concerns about an impending ecological disaster. Take a look at this report as we keep getting you the latest.
The Aravallis are North India's green lungs, checking desertification, regulating rainfall, and recharging groundwater for cities like Gurugram and Jaipur. But the 100-meter threshold leaves much of this ancient range unprotected, risking ecology and health hazards, an issue Republic has tracked on the ground. Residents gathered demanding ecological protection with technical classifications, warning that the Aravallis play a crucial role in controlling North India's already hazardous air quality. They are now being mined illegally in most parts along the 700-kilometer stretch.
There are people who are protesting to save Aravalli. There are people, local villagers, several individuals who've been fighting to save Aravallis, and with the latest new acceptance of the new definition of the Aravalli Hills, we know that this entire mountain range is in danger. Because around 90% of the mountain range is below 100 meters, thus it will not qualify to be a part of the Aravalli Hills. Aravalli Hills, also known as the lungs of the New Delhi NCR, also known as the lungs of the New Delhi NCR, they are in danger.
Large sections of the Aravalli Hills have been flattened to fall below the 100-meter benchmark, even as villagers allege continued illegal mining in violation of court orders.
There were hundreds of people here with us who were sharing their stories, sharing their version, how this illegal mining, even before this acceptance of the new definition by the Supreme Court, has been troubling their lives, has hugely impacted their lives. And even on this right now, I can show you, we are just near the residential area of this mining, and as per law, any blast site should be at least at a distance of around 500 meters or 1500 meters. But we are just at a mere distance of around 82 meters from the blast site. And few of the houses here, like this one, is just at a distance of 42 feet. So people here are struggling. They have serious health issues. They're having trouble breathing.
Locals say mining activity continues unchecked, causing environmental damage and serious health concerns, while powerful mining interests operate despite legal restrictions.
People are saying that it is getting difficult for them to breathe at this point because of the local factory, local cement crusher, which is just placed a few feet away from this village.
As protests intensify, the battle to save the Aravallis has become a fight for air, water and survival, raising urgent questions on environmental justice.
Illegal mining all throughout the Aravalli Hills, and right now I'll show you the situation because it is caught on our camera. As you can see, there are 3 trucks. When we came here, when Republic came here, this was a well-lit area. Mining was going on, and as per the DGMC order, which is Directorate General of Mine Safety, DGMS's order, no mining is allowed post sunset. So the allowed time period is between sunrise to sunset. But we reached here around half an hour ago, and this entire area I am showing you, which is pitch dark right now, this was completely well lit. There you can see there are 3 trucks who are functioning, who are carrying out the mining, illegal mining of that sorts.
So do you believe that Shastri had become an obstacle to the Vadra Nehru Gandhi family?
Lal Bahadur Shastri resigned. He said, Kamraj, why don't you become? Kamraj said, no. I don't know English, I don't know Hindi. See, he was the tallest and the strongest man of the Congress. If he wanted to become Prime Minister, nobody would have said no. Then Ramnath ji told me that when they went to Tirupati, in Tirupati, Ramdari Singh Dinkar prayed to Balaji, give the remaining years of my life to Jayaprakash Narayan.
This week on Get Me Right, 3 events that together signal a tectonic geopolitical shift in the world. The United States released its national security strategy paper. The UK, its intelligence and security report from the parliament. And amidst all this, China crossed, for the first time in world history for any nation, $1 trillion of trade surplus. And then the gas chamber that our national capital becomes every winter. Is there any hope, or are we condemned to live this forever? This weekend, Saturday and Sunday, only on Republic TV.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा, सबका राजा आर्थिक मसाला।
We are willing to put an end to this conflict via peaceful means based on the principles that I outlined in July last year when I spoke at the Foreign Ministry of Russia.
Putin squarely blamed Kyiv for the failure of peace negotiations, accusing Ukraine's leadership of refusing dialogue.
So do you believe that Shastri had become an obstacle to the Vadra Nehru Gandhi family?
Lal Bahadur Shastri resigned. He said, Kamraj, why don't you become? Kamraj said, no. I don't know English, I don't know Hindi. See, he was the tallest and the strongest man of the Congress. If he wanted to become Prime Minister, nobody would have said no. Then Ramnath ji told me that when they went to Tirupati, in Tirupati, Ramdari Singh Dinkar prayed to Balaji, give the remaining years of my life to Jayaprakash Narayan. Driving the car, and he was seeing Lal Bahadur Shastri standing in the bus stand. He said, I am no more a minister, so I cannot take the government car. He said, Kamraj, why don't you become? Kamraj said, no. I don't know English, I don't know Hindi. to be a prime minister, you need more qualities. You must know global situation, global relationship. And Ramdari Singh Dinkar died on the lap of Jayaprakash Narayan, right from 1969. He decided that this lady will turn out to be a dictator.
I've been meaning to do a few conversations that will last a longer length of time than most. And it has been my deep aspiration to bring to all the viewers of Republic on Digital a compendium of the lived experience of one of the greatest public intellectuals ever in the history of our country, Mr. S. Gurumurthy. Now, all of you know him as in different capacities. He's a warrior. He's been a warrior journalist. He's gone to jail fighting for the truth. He's never changed. He's a deeply spiritual individual, blessed in many ways that cannot be described in words. He's a lawyer. He is a corporate strategist. But most importantly than anything else, his life is a complete dedication to the nation. How does one look at the country through the eyes of a person like this? Mr. Gurumurthy's lived experience, what he has seen, the stories he has to share. Some of it is of course there in a text format. You can search and you can find. But I have always believed whenever I met him that I have had the privilege of hearing a lot of Mr. Gurumurthy, and I wish I had taken a tape recorder on those occasions, or at least recorded it for posterity. Since I was not able to do that, I approached Mr. Gurumurthy and asked him, can I do a 5 or 6 part podcast series with you, where I put your lived experience 1 decade at a time. And I am truly honored and delighted that he has agreed, and he is with me in the studio today. So first of all, Mr. Gurumurthy, once again, seek your blessings as we start this project of bringing your life's experience to all the viewers for posterity.
Thank you, Arnav.
And I am very delighted and proud that you have agreed to this, that you have chosen Republic to do this.
Actually, I chose only, it is you.
So thank you.
Because, I see in you as a fighter.
Thank you, sir.
That's why I thought that I must share my experience. Society has been my open air university. I've experienced the society. So I thought of sharing the experience of that society, which every Indian must know. That's why I thought I must share my thoughts with you.
Thank you, sir. This is so important because when people hear you speak, they also feel your emotions. They feel that the experiences which you have been through your eyes, your language, and your particularly unique style of narrating things. So I think people will listen, and I really hope they listen. And so I want to start by saying that today, viewers, we will cover Mr. Gurumurthy's life through the 60s and 70s. We'll put it together in one episode. We'll talk for about 1 hour. So may I start by asking you, Mr. Gurumurthy, a broad question. I don't think many people are there watching this who would have a lived experience of the 60s, unless you are at least in your late 60s now. So many people, or more maybe, or maybe early 70s or mid 70s, because you were yourself maybe just an early teenager in the 60s. So
I was doing my college.
You were doing your college. So let's start with 1960, sir, and take it to 1980 in the course of this conversation. What is your earliest recollection of the country and events around the 60s? What is your earliest recollection? Because you're a person who has been a thinking individual, putting things in context since you were very, very young. What do you remember of the 60s? Jawaharlal Nehru was, I think, Prime Minister. The principle of linguistic and cultural identity as the determining principle for state formation was there in the 1960s. It is at that time that 50s, all the states, 14 states and 9 union territories was created. Then integrated territories were grouped into 27 states. Then there was a census in 61. And then the map of Bombay was redrawn to include Marathi speaking as well as Gujarati speaking regions. Then there were regional movements, linguistic movements, and it was also the root of the Hindi imposition row, because I think in the 1960s the DMK led the protest against the enactment of the Official Languages Act. Annadurai spoke vehemently against the act. He wanted an indefinite continuation of English as the official language. So when I read about the 60s, the first thing which comes to my mind was here was a country that had just become independent. But was it tearing up into languages? Were languages dividing the country rather than bringing them together? In that context, your earliest memories and your recollections, please.
See, I came to Chennai in 1964. Till then I was in a village. I got educated in a school 5 kilometers from a village in municipal high school in Villupuram. So my knowledge of public affairs was limited to merely the political parties and the elections, which I saw in 1962 as a child. But when I came to the city, then I began understanding the larger aspects of public life. And my understanding was basically through the struggle between the regional party, the DMK, and the national party, the Congress. We were all very highly nationalist as a family, even in the village. So naturally I was drawn to the Congress. I was in the awe of Pandit Nehru and then Lal Bahadur Shastri. This was the time I was beginning to learn about politics, how it shapes the society and how the society shapes politics. I saw that Congress was probably taking this country for granted, that this country is going to be in their hands forever. I think there was a great immaturity that made the Congress feel that there would be no challenge to it. So the 1967 election was the first major challenge to the Congress when the Congress almost lost a majority. It barely got majority. I think they got about 287 seats or something like that, right under 300. And at that time only the many parties joined together to form post-alliance governments in Madhya Pradesh, in UP. That is how people like Charan Singh and others came up, and that is where the socialists and the BJP began working. Even the communists joined the Jansangh supported government in Bihar. And so that was a period of great churning in Indian politics, 1967. But that was also the greatest misfortune of Tamil Nadu, that the DMK captured power, and it captured by a strategic intervention they got from Rajagopalachari, who was a great nationalist and one of the tallest intellectuals of the country. Because of his antipathy to Kamaraj, he put together all the anti-nationals, the communist parties, the DMK, the Muslim League, and they won. And they won hands down. That was the biggest shock for people.
Why do you call them anti-nationals?
Because they wanted to separate from India. Till 1963, they were demanding Dravidian, a separate Dravidian state. Only in 1963, they gave it up. Till then, in fact, the original DK party, led by E.V. Ramsam Naikar, they celebrated our Independence Day as the Black Day. So this is their origin. In fact, the Dravidian party did not even want to associate with Tamil. Because if you associate with Tamil, it is Sanatana Dharma. That is what was E.V. Ramsam Naikar's complaint against Tamil. That you touch Tamil literature, whether it is Tirukkural or Silappatikaram or it is the Tolkappiyam or Kambaramayanam, everything is only Sanatana Dharma. The Sangam Tamil literature is Sanatana Dharma. So he said, Tamil is a barbaric language. Tamil literature should be burnt. This was the origin of the DMK. Only because of the anti-Hindi movement. They all turned into great admirers of Tamil. And Congress handed over Tamil to the DMK. Whereas the entire Tamil ethos, literature, Everything was built by the congressmen and nationalists. I saw it with my own eyes. That is what made me join the Congress. And for the next 10 years, I worked. I mean, I come from a very ordinary family. We couldn't afford to be in politics because I was the only person to get educated in my family. I'm the last of 4 brothers. My family was in great distress. It was financially in a very poor condition. But still, we all participated in politics. In 1971 election, we were all beaten black and blue. And the way the DMK ruled at that time was almost equal to how Lalu Prasad ruled Bihar. Then I decided to join RSS, that we have to protect ourselves. It is only because of the DMK's atrocities. Though I was in the Congress, I also joined the RSS. This happened in 1971. Then I began understanding the All India politics, then JP movement. Once I joined the RSS, then that expanded my vision from Tamil Nadu to the whole country. Then I thought about the country, where the direction, in which wrong direction it is, which is a mood. And that is what made me participate in larger national politics.
What was happening within the Congress in the 1960s? Because there was the 1961 Goa was brought back from Portugal. Then there was a setback of the 1962 Chinese aggression, which did not go well for us when the Chinese launched an offensive on us. And Nehru blundered. It is said that Nehru blundered in 1962 by being too friendly or trusting the Chinese. And when it didn't go well for us, that he was a broken man, and it's in those circumstances that he died. Then Lal Bahadur Shastri came in. Then he died in mysterious circumstances, and then Indira Gandhi came in. What was that period like? Was it a family trying to continue to keep its hold on power, or was it something else? Was it a very uncertain country in that period?
See, I felt, and at that time what I felt was in an amateurish way. As I now look back and see retrospectively what happened at that time, later I came in association with the Indian aspirants, Ramnath Goenka, Jayaprakash Narayan. Then I began knowing what was happening at that time. You see, the Congress got into an ideological confusion in 1940. Because the Congress was never a party of this kind. It had Hindu ethos. It had Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata Ki Jai. And it even adopted Hindu Rashtra. Because Pandit Nehru wrote in 1935 in his Glimpses of World History, if I remember right, at page 702, that Swami Vivekananda preached very aggressively the concept of Hindu nationalism, and I don't think it is against anybody. So he accepted it. But after Jinnah called for Pakistan, the Congress discarded the word Hindu. It discarded Vande Mataram. It discarded Bharat Mata Ki Jai. It became purely a party without ideology. This confusion deepened after independence and after Mahatma Gandhi died. It is my theory that to finish the Hindu elements in the Congress who looked to Patel for leadership, Nehru openly declared that Muslim communalism is aggressive, but Hindu communalism is dangerous. This is the first time Hindus were called communal in independent India. That became the political style of the Congress. And once they slipped away from nationalism, Jansangh took over that place. If you see the BJP today and the starting of Jansangh, all the nationalist orientation, slogans, philosophy, methods of the Congress is now the BJP's. The Congress has now become what the Muslim League was. And I think the Prime Minister is right. So now looking at in retrospect, the transformation took place in this period. Jawaharlal Nehru in his last days in the National Integration Council, he even said that we need a national assimilation policy and the minorities must be assimilated into the national mainstream. This was his speech in the National Integration Council. But the man, he was slowly losing control over the country and himself. Lal Bahadur Shastri was a very different man. But unfortunately, he was snatched away. When Mrs. Gandhi came, that was the turning point. I will tell you how it happened.
So, but about that, can I ask you a question on Shastri?
Yes.
Shastri died after the Second India-Pakistan War of 1965 over Kashmir. Pakistan launched Operation Gibraltar to incite insurgency in India. We attacked them back. There was a UN-mandated ceasefire, and then amidst war and drought, Shastri said, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. It symbolized defense and agriculture. He was an aggressive man. People did not realize this, that Lal Bahadur Shastri even exposed Pakistan in the United Nations for treachery. He wrote a letter saying, you have betrayed the peace agreement. He was not a pacific person. But somewhere, he suddenly died. The day he and the Pakistan president, I think Muhammad Ayub Khan, signed the Tashkent Declaration, he died. That night he died. He went to sleep, he woke up coughing, and he died at 1:30 in the morning. And many people believe that he was poisoned, that he was...
See, it was mysterious, no doubt, and there was no inquiry about it. That's even more important.
Do you think Shastri was... The death of Shastri is a abiding mystery?
It's a mystery.
What do you think about it?
I personally feel that at that time, given the relationship between the Soviet Union and the Nehru family, not exactly that they would have thought that Nehru's legacy will come to Indira Gandhi, but they certainly felt that Nehru legacy is being snatched away to the nationalist domain by Lal Bahadur Shastri. In fact, they are calling Pakistan and India for peace talks in Tashkent itself is a mysterious move. Because Russia was not a great friend of Pakistan. It was not a neutral country. It was supporting us. And in fact, China and Pakistan were closer. And China and Russia were drifting apart. In 1968, they were about to have a war. It was about to become a nuclear war. That is what made China later go to make a deal with America. So if you put all this together, this whole thing looks very mysterious and suspicious.
Viewers, I want to give you a little backdrop. We can run pictures over this. We don't know much about Lal Bahadur Shastri. But I can tell you this, that Lal Bahadur Shastri was a fighter. And he was not a person who would compromise. In fact, many people still believe he was one of the greatest and most short-lived prime ministers of the country. He fought Pakistan. He signed a peace deal, but he told off Pakistan, and the Russians, Soviet Union, Americans realized here is a man who is a nationalist. So as Dr. Gurumurthy says, the nationalist side of the Congress was coming up. Nehru had died. If Shastri had continued, maybe Indira Gandhi would have never become prime minister. And when he died, surprisingly, by the time his body was brought back from Tashkent, the body had turned blue. There was a bluish tint his body had taken, which makes his death one of the biggest mysteries. Films have been made about this. A post-mortem was never carried out. Till now, we don't know how and why Shastri died. So do you believe that Shastri had become an obstacle to the Vadra Nehru-Gandhi family?
I would say this much, that they did not want the Congress to become nationalist.
Who is they?
The leftists. After all, the left thinkers in India, even some of the socialists were left thinkers. They dominated the public discourse. They gave direction to the country. The anti-Hindu direction mainly came from the left thinkers in the 50s and 60s and 70s. So, I will tell you an interesting anecdote in the life of Lal Bahadur Shastri.
Please.
Lal Bahadur Shastri resigned as railway minister after the accident which happened in Aravalli in Tamil Nadu. So, Ramnath Goenka told me he was driving the car and he was seeing Lal Bahadur Shastri standing in the bus stand. He said, at that time Ramnathji did not know he had resigned actually, because he had resigned in the parliament, announced the retirement in parliament, resignation in the parliament, and then gave the car back to the government and came and stood in the... He went to Lal Bahadur, why are you standing here? He said, I am no more a minister, so I cannot take the government car. So Ramnath Goenka put him in his car and took him home. He said, my only problem, Ramnath, is, you see, depending upon my salary, I have taken a loan of 10,000 rupees. I do not know how I am going to repay that loan.
Can you imagine that, viewers? This was public morality in the 60s.
It was Lal Bahadur Shastri morality. I would not say it the same with all Congress people.
It's not public morality. It is the kind of person that he was.
And then Ramnathji said, I will give you that money. Whenever you can, you give it to me. Ramnathji used to say that when he told Ramnathji this, Ramnathji cried. Because Lal Bahadur Shastri had 9 children. And all children were married in the house in which he was staying. Behind, there was a tree. Under the tree only the children got married. He didn't even invite people. He didn't have the money. That was the man.
Wow. This anecdote tells us about the Prime Minister this country had, who we know very little about, Lal Bahadur Shastri, who died mysteriously. And had he not died, Indira Gandhi would never have come up, because the moment he died, the power struggle happened. And in that power struggle also, there were different factions, ladies and gentlemen. There was Gulzari Lal Nanda became the Prime Minister. There was a person called Gulzari Lal Nanda, by the way, in history books, the shortest serving Prime Minister of India. Then there was the Morarji Desai factor. He was a very powerful leader. He was Finance Minister in Nehru's government. And then there was Kamraj, what is called the syndicate, led by famous
Atulya Ghosh.
Atulya Ghosh. And Kamraj was like Kamraj, they say, was like a person who held all the clout. So there was Kamraj on the one side and there was Morarji Desai on the other. And then there was a syndicate fighting with Morarji Desai. And in the middle of that comes up Indira Gandhi. What is your recollection of that period? Because if we have to understand the emergency, to understand the politics of the 70s, we must understand the politics of the 60s. What was the Congress like from 65 to 70 in that period between all these different groups? Can you explain it to a lay audience?
Actually, at that time there was very little information available in the public domain, except the fact that Indira Gandhi became shockingly the Prime Minister.
Shockingly.
Nobody expected it. And Morarji Desai was made to accept Deputy Prime Ministership under her. Because they all felt...
Deputy Prime
Minister. So, everybody thought that the Congress has to be united. If the Congress has to be united, then we will have to make compromises. But I will tell you a personal anecdote. When Lal Bahadur Shastri had died, that morning at 3 o'clock, Kamraj called Goenka and told him, Goenka, I have to go to Delhi, you have to arrange an aircraft for me. So Ramnath Goenka arranged a small aircraft which the Hindu paper had, and Goenka also went in the aircraft with Kamraj. And Kamraj was breathing so heavily, he was so restless, as if a death had taken place in his own house. So for 15-20 minutes Goenka waited and asked him, Kamraj, What do you feel? I don't know. Unume purilappa. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Then he said, Kamraj, why don't you become? Kamraj said, no. I don't know English. I don't know Hindi. You know, to be a prime minister, you need more qualities. You must know global situation, global relationship. I am not fit for that. See, he was the tallest and the strongest man of the Congress. If he wanted to become prime minister, nobody would have said no. He would have been the most appropriate person also, considering his overall leadership qualities. Then he said, what do you think of Morarji Bhai? He said, he is a little odd person. That was his comment in Tamil. Then he said, what are you going to do? He said, I have got to consult people. You know, I cannot take a view on my own only. I have to consult everybody. See, the strongest man in the Congress, the most trusted man, the cleanest man, talking like this. And of course, they all went and finally thought, you know, Indira Gandhi is a gungi gudiya and she will listen to whatever they were saying, and they got into a huge mess. Then Goenka told me that Indira Gandhi was a little happy with him because he brought Kamraj in the flight, and she felt that maybe he had a role in Kamraj finally shaping the opinion in her favor, and so she was very comfortable with him. But in 1969, when she broke the Congress party, Goenka went and met her. He said, don't do it. Because today, Congress and the country are one. We are seeing all vociferous tendencies and dividers developing in different parts of the country. Congress has to remain united. And don't break it. Then it seems she asked, Mr. Goenka, are you my friend or my enemy? Goenka stood up and said, the choice is yours. That is how the battle started between Indian Express and...
So if I can just pause you at this minute. Viewers, if you listen to this part, you can wind back and listen here. You're hearing about Indira Gandhi coming up. Indira Gandhi was very ambitious. She always felt she was the person who had a global exposure. She spoke English well, she was foreign educated, she had the right image. And there were other rooted leaders who had less confidence. And Kamraj, who was very powerful, led the syndicate, felt ill-equipped to lead the country. He thought a foreign educated global exposure, Indira Gandhi could have done more. It is also argued that he felt maybe he could control and be the power behind the throne, as it were. And as you are listening to this, please remember that was a different India. Today, non-English speaking, rooted politicians from humble backgrounds are becoming prime ministers, presidents of our country. So it's a change of times. You don't need to be anglicized to be a leader in our country. But in this period, a small portion we missed, which I'm going to ask Mr. Gurumurthy about. Mr. Gurumurthy, we are now seeing the imminent collapse of the Congress, generally believed. But something happened in 1967. In the 1967 election, that was the first election in which the Congress lost a lot of seats. They went down from 361 in 1962 to only 283 seats. Their vote share fell by 7%. The Naxal movement was picking up in Bengal with Charu Majumdar, and a lot of the people in Indira's cabinet lost the elections. Even Kamraj lost, S.K. Patil lost, Atulya Ghosh lost in Bengal. I want to ask you, sir, was India getting disillusioned with the Congress party by 1967? Why did that happen? Because present day, we don't have, many people don't remember something almost 60 years back. Was something changing? Was the country changing? Were expectations rising? Why did the Congress appear to be beginning to go down in 67?
You see, actually, as I told you, the Congress lost its roots. And because there was no competition local or national, the Congress was winning the elections.
There was no opposition. There was no alternative national formation.
Yes. But the Congress was neither fish, flesh nor fowl.
Okay.
It had no identity. So others were developing their identities. The socialists were developing their identities. Jansanghh was developing its identities. Regional parties were developing its identities. And the Congress dissenters had formed the Swatantra Party. Yes. So these are all the factors, because after all, those who formed the Swatantra Party were also the Congress people. So the Congress at the grassroots level began to split away from the Congress. That was the reason for the defeat in 1967. But once the Congress moved away from the nationalist orientation, it could not come back to that orientation. So Mrs. Gandhi shifted the whole thing to economic ideology. That is why she wrote that famous letter which broke the Congress. That letter to the syndicate, her random thoughts. And that is where she wanted bank nationalized and things like that. That was the starting point of the breakup of the...
She wanted to present herself as a socialist.
Socialist.
What was her intent there? Was she true to that spirit or was she acting?
I think she was advised.
She was advised to become a socialist.
Yes.
To pretend to be a socialist or be a socialist?
Because at times socialism was becoming a very important all over the world with the rise of Russia, Soviet Union. So there was a certain aura about socialism. The Congress had adopted socialism but didn't pursue it very much. In 1958, in 57 in Avadi, they adopted socialism as the creed of the Congress. But like Congress always celebrates an idea but doesn't really go deep into it. Yeah. But Mrs. Gandhi thought this is the way to fix these elder leaders.
To fix them.
There was absolutely no doubt that 6-page letter which she wrote, which caused the breakup of the Congress. And on that basis, she took the support of the left, she took the support of the DMK, she took the support of even the Socialist Party. Between 1969 and 71, she began doing this bank nationalization, then the privy purse abolition, to show that she is anti-rich, anti-capital, and so she became some kind of an icon for socialism. And many youths began to come back to the Congress, which is a fact.
So viewers, at this moment, just to understand what Mr. Gurumurthy is saying, socialism, what we call leftist views, left of center views, what appear to be pro-people views, are not always ideologically driven, is the lesson which I am learning from Mr. Gurumurthy. Often they are political strategies. When Indira Gandhi felt that she was under attack for more powerful people who had formed this Swatantra Party, she needed to survive. So she started saying Garibi Hatao. She started saying abolish the privy purses of the princes, nationalize 14 banks, put income tax, put wealth tax, pauperize the princes. Obviously these ideas were very popular. Who in India would not want to hear a leader who would say, I'm going to take on the princes, I'm going to give power back to the people. But was it power to the people is my next question. Was it really power to the people? She achieved her objectives. She broke the Congress. She positioned herself as a popular leader, and then came Congress I, which was called Congress Indira. Am I right in reading it up to this point? So somewhere I'm seeing that in the present also. I go back and forth. That even now, this whole pretense of socialism, the pretense of leftist, pretense of pro-people, what sometimes Rahul Gandhi starts saying Ambani, Adani, do you find a similar strategy there? Are they comparable at all, that at a moment of political crisis internally, you try and position yourself as the redeemer of the poor?
No, this is only one aspect of Rahul Gandhi. But the other aspects of Rahul Gandhi, virtually taking the position which Muslim League took in 1930s.
That Indira Gandhi didn't do.
She didn't do. And to break the Hindu society into this and that, she didn't do. She didn't talk about OBC, she didn't talk about scheduled caste.
She just said Garibi Hatao.
Garibi Hatao. Her approach was economic ideology. But it is not that made her win. That made her popular. But what made her win was that she was able to paint others as supporters of capitalism, supporters of America, because people like us were branded as CIA agents at that time.
Really?
Yeah.
Were you?
Yes.
This is a story. Okay, so now comes the story. Ladies and gentlemen, incredible. One of the greatest people in our country, biggest nationalist, has been called a CIA agent.
Yes.
Tell us about it, Mr. Gurumurthy.
Anybody.
You must have been very young, like you must have been in your 20s.
I was a chartered accountant, I was rising, and I was, of course, in my own way, I had my influence. But at the local level, Congress people would call me CIA agent, because at the national level, even Kamaraj was called a CIA agent. Morarji Desai was called a CIA agent.
I remember Morarji Desai was called as.
Entire BJP, RSS were classified as CIA agents. So,
Did she go after her? Did she go after those who she saw as a potential threat?
Ramnath Goenka.
That will come to later. Yeah. That will come to later.
Because he was probably the one man who gave the sinews to the entire anti-Congress movement at that time, right from 1969. He decided that this lady will turn out to be a dictator. He was the first man to realize. And so Goenka was, because he had a very powerful newspaper, all other newspapers succumbed to Mrs. Gandhi. It is only he. So a newspaper played a critical role in keeping the opposition together, and he was a great socializer with the opposition people. And even the socialists turned against Mrs. Gandhi in 1971 elections, and the syndicate was formed. And once she defeated the syndicate, she deserted all the communists, DMK, everybody. All the people who supported her between 1967 and 1971, she began discarding one by one by one. She made only one concession. She gave to the CPI, many people came and joined the Congress from the CPI, Mohan Kumar Mangalam and people like that. She gave them one big project, the JNU.
I'll come to that.
So she gave them what they wanted. But after she won the Bangladesh war, she did not need anybody.
So is it true that now let us come to the Bangladesh war to 1971. Mr. Gurumurthy, she did extremely well in terms of the military response, and when Pakistan Army launched Operation Searchlight, which was, the massacre of Bengali intellectuals, students, civilians, Mukti Wahini started, 1 crore refugees came into Bengal, Assam, Tripura. She went and she helped Bangladesh get independence. The map of the subcontinent was redrawn, and a new geopolitical map emerged with the emergence of Bangladesh as a sovereign nation. Now, while I feel she did very well in terms of the military response and speed of decision making, did she become a dictator? Did the potential of her as a dictator begin to show in the aftermath of 1971? Because she started, she formed Congress R. She had, if you look back into history, you would see that she has imposed president's rule in several states. She imposed president's rule in Gujarat. I think, if I'm not mistaken, she imposed president's rule in even Tamil Nadu. In Tamil Nadu, at that later?
It all much later.
Much later, but there were about 15 states in the country which operated under central administration through the governors. So, did Indira Gandhi turn into a dictator before the imposition of emergency between 71 and 75? What are your recollections of that period and reading of the political mood at the time?
In the early 1970s, after she won even before she won, she began talking about the socialists and the CIA agents, American supporters. So she was dividing the nation into two. All the nationalists were classified as anti-nationals. This happened even before the 1971 election. Okay. Once she won the 1971 election and got 2/3 majority.
After the war.
The first thing she did was to amend the constitution, 24th and 25th amendment to the constitution, which was advised by Mohan Kumar Mangalam.
Okay, tell us about Mohan Kumara Mangalam for people who don't know. Tell us about him.
Mohan Kumar Mangalam was the person who drafted the partition resolution of Jinnah. You can Google and get this information. Communists and Muslim League were one. And they found that in the Muslim League, there is more merit than in the Congress. So he had that orientation. This anti-national orientation was very much in the communist movement. And they were even very hesitant about participating in democracy. They carried on a long debate. And those who wanted to participate in democracy, they contested elections and others became militants. That is how this division took place in Andhra, in what is known as Telangana now. In all the Madhya Pradesh and other areas, the Naxalite movement developed later. Afterwards, the Naxalite movement as an ideological movement developed in Bengal.